but here we are. Our IT staff is working on a Zoom link. Apparently the consultant didn't have a Zoom link, and we'll try to get that in, and hopefully it'll work. So I'd like to call this meeting to order. Bob, would you do the invocation?
Lord, as we come before you at this time, we're grateful for all the blessings that we receive each and every day. You are a good God to us, and we know that all good things come from you. Help us as we ask for wisdom and conduct the affairs of this county, to be the servants for the people of this county in order to make sure that we have their welfare in mind. Help us to always do the right thing and say the right thing. We ask this in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Can I get approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I would like to discuss the agenda. I'd like to remove item B under report of the committee chair from the agenda. Without objection.
Well, it's under my report. I'd like to keep it.
Okay.
I mean, we could discuss it.
That's fine.
Did you not want to discuss?
We're not taking any action on it.
We might.
Okay.
Do you know what the item is? I'd like to keep it in the agenda. We can discuss it.
Okay.
Any other? Can I get a second for the approval of the agenda? Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? We have an agenda. Recognition of the public. We have two people to speak.
Laura Baker, 24 Newby Reed Road, Portland. I wanted to speak on the recruitment of a finance director. I dug into this a little bit as an outcome of the budget committee meeting a couple weeks ago, where the chair lady brought up this topic of a contract for the finance director, and that raised some questions in my mind, and all of you probably know us well enough that would trigger some research into some things. So there's three topics I want to talk to you about today related to it. Number one is the previously considered candidate, and this may be somewhat moot in your mind, but I feel all of these things need to be on the record. Mr. Neal is probably a very nice guy. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but it seemed like everybody liked him. But bluntly, he was totally unqualified for the position. Knowing how to audit a county's finances is only part of the job, and I submit it's a small part of it. There are many other major functions that this department is responsible for, like preparing the budget, payroll, purchasing, and even HR issues. Previous management experience is essential in this role, and I encourage you to prioritize management experience when considering any future candidates. Number two, Sumner local government consulting. Maybe a minor thing in your mind, but when you add all these things together about this particular company, it raises some questions. The summary on the website for them says city government consulting firm. I'm not sure what the other search firm's area of expertise was, because I didn't have access to the other companies, but surely there must be a firm that focuses more on county government than city government. They have a completely different structure, and the kinds of candidates that you'd be looking for those structures a lot different than we would be looking for at the county level. Also, the principal of the company, which is probably, again, a nice guy, has held 6 different city manager positions before starting this consulting company. 3 of his most recent 6 have some history that warrants explanation. For instance, in Dunwoody, Georgia, residents called for his firing or resignation right from the council podium. In Johns Creek, Georgia, he left with a separation agreement, 6 months' pay, and a confidentiality agreement. What's that all about? Of course, you can't discuss it, but it seems a little suspicious. And in his last city manager role, he actually went to Hutto, Texas. And after a year, he still hadn't moved his family or moved within city limits, as required by city ordinance. So basically, he was breaking the law by not living there. And then third on the subject, they quoted us $24,000. Yet last year, their search for Forest Park Georgia's city manager was quoted at $21,000. And their search for a Sarasota, Florida city manager, just this past September, was quoted at $18,000. Okay? And the newspaper where I found all this information said that the discounted rate was given because Sumter is hungry and scrappy. Well, as far as I know, they don't really have any business in Tennessee, which they were trying to break into Florida, so I don't know why we have to pay thousands of dollars more than they do. And then finally, the position itself. I went through the comptroller's website and went through all 95 counties' CAFRs, the consolidated annual financial reports, and looked at the pay and the population and the annual expenditures for every one of our 95 counties. Now, you can't do a direct comparison of them because not everybody has a discrete finance director listed or a discrete department. But what I found there is that our finance director was the third highest paid, even though we're the 8th largest and the 8th budget amount, okay? Only behind Shelby and Davidson County, which are obviously 1 and 2 in terms of both dollars and population. The average salary of a supervisor or director in that position is $103,332. The median salary is $95,948, so $96,000. We have a starting pay listed at $165 to $195, which puts us in the top 5 at the low end and in the top 2 at the high end. And some of those counties, actually, the finance director oversees the schools too. So my request to you is, first of all, prioritize management. Number 2, see if we can't get a better rate and see if Sumter is actually the best consulting firm. And number 3, lower the pay scale for this open position. Thank you.
Well, this is going to be easy. She came in under the window. I was going to ask to extend her time to carry on the comments, but she did all the high points, so I'm going to leave it at that.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? We move on to the next item, approval of the minutes from December the 3rd.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Report of the chair. I'd like to report out one first that I went back through. As we all know, I tried to schedule us a meeting for the 30th, and it was just December and nobody could make it. So that's okay. But we have some problems in our minutes, and we just need to clean up some stuff. So what I'd like to tell you is what I read. I went back and I revisited the minutes to remember what we did. In October, the mayor motioned to accept Sumter, and it was seconded by Mr. Langford, and we had a unanimous approval. In November, Mr. Kerr made a motion to pause the signing until the next meeting. Unanimously, we approved. In December, Mr. Brown motioned to re-engage a search firm. I second, it failed. And that's where we were sitting. So we never voted to unpause, which makes sense, but we didn't do it. We have some parliamentary things to kind of clean up in these minutes about where we're at. And maybe I'm off, but it seems like we should vote to resume or continue, since our last vote on this was a pause. Any discussion on how we can clean this up?
I'm trying to think about, I thought we paused until we found out about the candidate.
We said until the next meeting. First we tried to say 2 weeks, and then we tried to say to the next meeting. It's the verbiage I'm trying to clean up.
Yeah, no, I thought, my memory was that we were pausing until we could find out about the candidate.
That's why I went back and read the minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that was my memory.
Yeah, I was been back at it. It was until the next meeting.
Well, I'm not disputing, I'm just saying, like,
Next meeting.
yeah.
So it's just a cleanup matter.
Well, but if it wouldn't get if it was paused to the next meeting, we had the next meeting.
And we had the next meeting, and Commissioner Brown said, let's go back to the firm, but at that point, we still had Mr. Neal in the job. And then after that, when he withdrew, and that's why I tried to have the, special call so we could get it rolling along in a more orderly manner.
Just parliamentary-wise, if we voted to pause it until the next meeting, then it would be technically unpaused.
Well, we voted it down, though.
And at the December meeting, when we were going to unpause it,
It's voted down.
we voted it down. So here we are with it, with our vote. Somebody can tell me that I'm seeing this wrong, but we kind of twisted it.
I think the intent was to pause until we could vet this candidate.
I agree.
And the candidate was vetted, well, started the vetting process and backed out. Now, why did he back out? I don't know. We probably need to understand a little bit more why that happened. And that's maybe for the day. But that was the motion that I made, is to pause it until we were able to vet this candidate. And I believe Mr. Walling is the one that said, let's put date certain on it. And the next meeting was the next opportunity. And Mr. Brown, we voted it down. To me, we crossed that threshold of that next meeting. So I don't see that it's still paused. In my opinion.
I would agree with Mr. Kerr.
When it was voted down, we dropped it. It was gone.
Oh, your motion didn't pass, so it was void.
Yeah.
So you go back to your original motion, which was pause till the next meeting. We were sitting in the next meeting. And so it was unpaused at that point.
Perhaps if we could have a motion to clean it up.
What, you did not vote it down, Bob.
So
You voted
if we,
we voted.
okay, if we could move forward.
Yeah.
This is where we're at today, according to the minutes. If we could get a motion to clean this up, it would make it more appropriate. Does someone have a way to clean this up?
I would be the same. I would agree with Mr. Kerr that I don't think there's anything to clean up because his motion was to pause until the next meeting with a time constraint. That next meeting passed. Mr. Brown did make a motion that failed, but that doesn't mean that just means he made a motion that failed. So I would say since there was a time limit on the motion of pausing, that it was effectively unpaused. We chose to wait until the candidate was vetted to see if he was worth hiring. But when that didn't happen, we would revert back to the action of Mr. Kerr's motion, which was to pause until the next meeting. That meeting has passed. That candidate's gone. So I don't know that I see that there's anything to clean up, I guess.
I agree with you. I think that was the complete intent. I think that the initial motion we made, the verbiage was just not broad enough for us.
Yeah, I guess what I would say is if it said if we pause until the next meeting passed, I don't think that would just mean
Okay.
we pause it until that meeting. Once that meeting's passed, then it would effectively be unpaused. I mean, that's what I think I would concur with Mr. Kerr.
And I'm going to agree with that. And also, I think it was also tied to the vetting of a candidate. Once that vetting process with that candidate dropping out, that was also a reason to move forward. And we moved forward with the unanimous decision that we made to take Sumner Group. So that's, I think the minutes are correct. I don't think there's anything that we can really clean up. I think we just need to move forward.
I'm in agreement with that. That was the intent, and the wording was, and the situation was a little.
And I don't want to put words in Mr. Brown's mouth, but my memory is that his motion was to reengage the search firm instead of vetting the candidate, not to unpause, just to unpause the search firm process. It was to do that in lieu of considering the other candidate.
So if we could just to clean it up, we just make a motion, and everyone that agrees that that was the intent of it, the intent was to pause and give this candidate, and then unforeseen to us, he withdrew, and so automatically released the pause without coming back. And I'm good with that, and we can just vote clean and we'll go on.
My only concern with that is that we basically already
Did that?
re-engaged with the search firm
Oh, okay.
a couple of weeks ago. So I think we might be creating a different problem for ourselves if we vote to say that we're re-engaging if we've already engaged a couple of weeks ago.
Maybe the motion should be, should we go back and revisit the minutes? And I think that would get us where we need to go, because I don't think, number one, I don't think we need to do that. But if
We got
you feel like
other
from
work
just
to do.
have it synced up with what the intent was, which I think we carried out the intention of that, then maybe the simple motion is, do we need, make the motion to go through the effort to clean up the minutes, and it's a yes or no vote up and down. And I don't think we need to clean it up. And that's just my opinion, but just to move forward and get to the next topic, maybe that's the right thing to do.
But this is just a report, so it doesn't necessarily need a motion.
Yeah. So I think, and I made the motion, I don't think we need to do anything.
Okay.
The minutes.
So, Mr. Sittler, would you say, just for Ms. Boyd, if she just makes her statement as part of her report that this is the interpretation, then that would count the same as any kind of, because there's really not anything actionable.
Correct. And just, if we're referencing the prior minutes, then you go back to the prior minutes, everybody comes to the same conclusion, then we're not creating more trouble later.
Right.
That would be my suggestion.
Okay, so we move on. The first item is Sumner Local Government Consulting. I spoke to Mr. Warren today. He had sent an email. I was under the impression perhaps he had sent a link and he was going to Zoom in, but he was under the impression that we would call him if we wanted him. So we have IT that's been trying to connect with him, and I don't know, how's it going?
I haven't showed it at all. I got 3 or 4 of the old ones. I keep going, and he never doesn't show me getting into it.
So, I'm actively texting. He's, no, well, I guess he can't see it, but, so we'll just come back to that if we can, establish connection. Regarding Sumner Local, I was wondering, we all received the email that the meeting was, scheduled for January 23rd because of scheduling. So I was just wondering if the mayor could address that, because I was never asked about scheduling.
Yeah, I've got an outstanding question to legal on that meeting, on who can attend it. And so, once I receive word back, and that was through Steve.
Yeah, and we have talked about that, so there's too many parties involved. I believe it needs a noticing and, at a minimum, and if there's gonna be any deliberation or voting, there probably needs to be addressed as a meeting. So if that needs to occur, that's fine. I don't mind getting the ball rolling on that, but there's just too many pieces, and this has too much of an impact for, the county to be appraised of what's going on. I wouldn't risk it.
Okay, so it'll be a public meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I suggest doing.
Okay. So we need to notice that. That's the question I wanted with, various members of the commission being on financial management. I wanted to make sure that we're in the clear when we do the meeting. So we'll get the notice out tomorrow. And, it's an all-day meeting. He said he's gonna be here all day. So that's all I really know. I talked to him late today. So that's the information that I have.
How do you feel about the timeline? We're now getting started late January.
Well, I mean, I'd love to just disregard the 81 Act and go by the 2012 Act, which I feel we're operating under, and then we'll make an appointment to the commission to vote on. But here we are, we're working with Sumter Group, and we still have to work under their timeline as well as ours.
If you had a candidate, could you run him through like you did Mr. O'Neill?
I would love to run a candidate through, but Pop, apparently he didn't want to go through the process.
So, on your communication with the Sumner group, if I can ask, are they planning on, I know from their proposal, if everybody's familiar with their proposal, the first step is to develop a profile for candidates. And I asked them if they had received the one that Mr. Long drew up. He did it for our advertisement, and what we were looking for a finance director, and they said they had not. And I told them they would probably be better off than waiting till the end of the month if we could give them material we'd already developed. Because Mr. Long also developed the county profile as well as the candidate profile.
You're welcome to send that to them.
So, were they waiting till January 23rd to get that?
I did not have a lengthy conversation with him to see where we go with this. So until I can have that conversation with him, I didn't know where we were going with this process.
That's why I was
We have
hoping.
the meeting tonight, and we're going to discuss that. And once we discuss that tonight, then we'll take actions tomorrow.
So you're gonna have a meeting with them tonight?
No, I did not say I was going to have a meeting with him
That's what
tonight.
you just said.
I said we are having a meeting tonight, this committee, and then I will reach out to him.
Acted like he was having another meeting.
That's why I was hoping they could come and we
What I
could
can
discuss
do is just wait and let the full financial management committee speak to him. And we can really create a boondoggle with this, Commissioner Boyd. If we want to try to streamline.
A full.
You want a full one?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll wait till the 23rd to do anything.
You don't need to vote on that.
When you say anything, I'm not quite sure what that is. We
Well, that-
voted and we
That
haven't.
may not taking any action with Sumter until the full financial management committee meets with them. Per Commissioner Brown's request. And I have no problem doing that as well.
I'm really not sure where to take this, Mayor. I'm not quite sure what you've done or what you want anyone else to do. All I know is that I wanted to hear where they were with phase 1, and I asked them to come, and they didn't, and I'm asking you, and I'm not quite sure why you're angry.
I'm not angry.
Okay.
I'm happy.
Would you,
Well, say they didn't come, but.
Oh, I'm sorry, they haven't.
Technology-wise, it didn't happen.
it didn't happen,
So
yes.
we don't know that he wouldn't have joined, so probably describe it that way.
All right, for the minutes, technology-wise, he didn't get the link.
Well, I typed the numbers in the email, gave him the meeting ID and the passcode, so if you didn't get the email, maybe they'll see this.
Did anybody call him?
Mm-hmm. I've spoken to him. And he's on that text right there. He's
Well, I guess worst case, we could have put him on speaker, we could talk to him, yes, if that's possible, if we have that technology.
all right. So we'll move on to item. I'm sorry.
Number what?
I got his number. You want to call?
There's a warrant?
Hey Warren, this is Terry Boyd here in Sumner County.
Yes, I just got the text with the meeting ID and password, and I'll put it in there.
Oh, just now.
Yeah,
Can you hang on a moment, Warren? My IT person just.
yeah, I just deleted the meeting when you called it, so I was like, oh.
Oh, I see. Okay, so we've changed pathways. We have you on speakerphone. You're on the full commission or committee setting here.
Okay, so do you want me to hit that password and ID, or leave it alone?
No. Can you?
Okay. I mean, I can try to create another.
Here, can you check
How
it
long?
out, please?
It's up as well as it goes. How long would that take?
I'm just about to hit join.
Just a second. We'll need a new link.
He can't, yeah.
You can't join.
Or I can be on speakerphone, that's fine too. Whatever is easy for you.
Yeah, we're just having a little technical
Yeah,
time
no
here.
problem. The speakerphone's good, I can hear you.
It's not loud enough for the full table.
Oh, okay.
It'll take a little bit. Can we come back to this?
Yeah.
All right. Can I just put you on mute and we'll get you another link in just a second or a few minutes.
problem.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks.
Hang on. All right. So if we can move on to item B while he's getting this done, that would be great. So item B, what I wanted to talk about was the potential for some contract labor. It's just a backup plan. If we don't get a finance director, I don't want to be sitting here in May that we've had another one come and go because they didn't want to join us, or we haven't made an agreement, or the committee. So as a backup plan, it'll take 2 months to get a bid through and to find somebody that could do contract labor, and this is just to hire a professional, an executive professional, to provide resources to the finance department. And so I would like to make a motion that we entertain putting out, we would have to put out, I've talked to legal, we'd have to bid it out. It's a different service. I spoke to Warren today. They offer that service as does other firms. So it would just be a matter of putting out, and this is just a backup. I mean, we all know it will take 2 months to get it in place. Hopefully we'll be way down the road, we'll have our candidate and we won't use it. But if we don't and we get to March and April and we still don't have anybody, I'd like to have the ability for us to make a decision to contract some labor, to put up some executive labor, not just hire anybody or a low level, but someone that can help with budgeting and things of that nature. Any discussions?
Well, let me ask, and Beth, I don't want to put you on the spot. That's what we hired you for. So help us understand why we have the need for that.
Can't help you understand that. I said, I can't help you understand that. That wasn't my request.
Okay, so maybe, Chairman Wood, if you could help us understand why, if you feel like you're against the wall and you don't have the resources and we're falling behind, I'd be the first to say, let's do it. I just don't want us to not be successful here, but I'm trying to understand how that would duplicate costs to a certain degree. And I just think we need to understand why and when we would pull that trigger. So let me ask you, Beth, do you feel like that you've got a good grip and grasp of the day-to-day, and are you in a good position to move forward on the budget, or do you need help?
We're working on the budget. Of course, it's early. We're just getting started. It is going to be a challenge. Mr. Long was the one that projected the revenues. I wasn't involved in that process. Had very little training on that process. My responsibility for many years has been the expenditure side of the budget. So with Jessica and Jordan's help, we're going to do the best we can to get the revenue piece as accurate as possible. Yes, the budget will be a challenge, but we plan on doing that. The part I don't understand is, okay, if we do this and we get, we see in a couple of months that we need somebody, it's too late at that point. Our budget needs to be basically complete and ready to go into budget hearing by March and April. We don't need to be hiring somebody to come in and help us do a budget at that point. If we were doing that, we should.
Given the timeline and looking at the scope of work, do you think we're positioned to have the budget ready by March, April? So have the hearings?
Yes.
Okay. I'm on the revenue side, and that's always been the most comprehensive part of it. And when I would speak to Dave about it, I didn't get a lot of detail, other than, hey, we're tracking good, which is great. But now he's not here, and you're having to pick it up and run with it. Do you need Do you feel like you have a high degree of confidence in what you're doing on the revenue side? Is going to be reputable at the end? I mean, are there components of that that you just can't get there yet?
I'm still working on understanding his spreadsheet. It is cumbersome. It's a very large document. But I do have resources that I can reach out to, other county finance directors, auditors, CTAS, different ones I can reach out to that have told me that they're, willing to help if I need that.
And if I can interject, the reason I brought this forward is we're missing resource hours. Mr. Long was putting in 50 to 60 hours. This has nothing to do with, Beth is very capable, but we are missing 50 or 60 executive hours in that office.
That's assuming the extra hours were productive.
Well, I'm not going to discuss that. I'm going to assume we were.
But it still comes back to the question, can you get it done with the resources that you have in front of you? And if the answer is yes, I'm not sure why we need to go out and hire an interim.
I intend to.
Okay.
If I feel like I need something additional, I will by all means let somebody know.
And then, again, on my point, I wasn't hoping to hire an interim. I just wanted to hire some contract labor to come in and help with the budget and the revenue side.
But to help
leaving it.
Let's get ready.
Well,
She's already said she needs help with the revenue.
I know, but she said also she could get it done. That's the point.
so it will take 2 months. If in 2 months we find we need help, it will take 2 more months. This is just a backup plan only to have someone bid it out and somebody vetted that we can use if we need them. If we wait, like I said, I just don't want to sit here in March and we need it.
I would venture to guess if we got 2 months down the road and we said, we need help, it's going to take 30 days to get the person in and another 30 days to get them trained. So I think we're late at the station already.
And I can address that. I actually made a couple of calls, and within a matter of days, there are people in these agencies that they can have in front of us to make a decision. I'm not saying we just hire somebody to be hiring somebody. If they're not qualified, they're not qualified. But they have people, this is temporary work, contract work, you understand that. And there are contractors out there that are fully capable of this type of position that could be in front of us within 3 days after
That
we
would
see it.
be somebody that's familiar with our comptroller's office, our revenue projection.
I have no idea.
See, that's
Without
important, because
looking.
you gotta have that technical skill. Well, I mean, if you want to get an RFP out there for something that likely is not going to benefit us for this budget cycle, I'd say knock yourself out. But all I'm trying to do is understand the resources in front of us today with Beth. If Beth is getting the work done, I'm not sure 2 months, 3 months down the road when we plug this person in, it's really going to make a difference. Because you get past budget, it becomes more rudimentary. And I'm not trying to diminish what you're doing. It becomes more of the machine that you do on a basis. So
the
I hear you,
timeline,
and I can appreciate
the timeline wouldn't be 2 months. The timeline would be a bid of 2 weeks, 2-week bid out, make a decision, and they can have a person. We can make a decision.
Right?
We just need to see if they're willing to have a backup plan. I tell you, I envision we ain't gonna have a finance director for a while, and I just want to have somebody to come in and
Wouldn't we have to go through budget to do that?
to get approval for a consultant, to get approval.
You
Yes.
got a sense from that he could have carried that through.
I don't know. I don't talk to him outside of meetings. That'd be against the law.
Okay, well then we don't know. If 2 months is reasonable or not. Again, I'm not trying to complicate it, but I don't want to complicate Beth's world either. Because the time she's taken to train somebody or to show them all the 50,000 files that they would have, it's just time away from her doing her job.
So, I got it.
Yeah.
So, my motion would be to have a backup plan and put out an RFQ and see what we get. And hopefully we won't need it, but if we do need it, we'll have it in place. I mean, we see what happened with the last candidate. We know where we're at with the commission. We all know, I don't have to go into that. We can all work here, the recruiting firm can work here, and we still might not have a candidate. And David must have been doing something. We have 50 hours of executive time that's not being filled, and I'm pretty sure that office could need some help. I am not saying y'all not doing a good job. You are. I just want to give you some resources. And this could be the conversation we're having still in April and May and August when we need clothes. It's just a backup plan. That's my motion. We can all vote, and we'll move on. Ain't no need to
I would
prolong
recommend
it.
we hear from Mr. Warren about timelines and what he can project in terms of having a candidate in front of us.
I tried that.
I also noted on this client profile, there's a large number of those that are interim jobs that he placed or in the first place. So I think he could also let us know what that interim market looks like.
And I talked to him about it too today.
Okay. But, I mean, to get an interim out of another state, I'm not sure it gives us any value. They would need to be in Tennessee, understand the comptroller's office.
If we don't bid, it's fine. I'll make the motion. Anybody want to second it?
Point of information, how much does it cost to put out an RFQ?
Newspaper. Run it in the newspaper.
Who would prepare that? Because I think if they had to prepare it, then it would be pulling away from, if we're trying. That's what I was.
I can address that. So I had them send me the RFQ that we use for the Sumner bid, and I looked through it, and basically what we'd be doing is changing the verbiage from an executive position to contract labor for basically the same skills.
Yeah, I think my other concern would be is if we're putting something out there as a potential backup plan, I wonder how many would bid, go through the process of meeting the requirements of the bid to possibly be, I think that would be a.
Mr. Warren told me he's interested. He'd be all over it. Looking forward to helping us.
I guess what would the dollar amount be that would require to get that kind of service? Because I'm just wondering with professional services, we're going to have to always, it's a little bit different category than bidding for a construction project.
It'll be a contract as well.
I was just wondering if there's a way where, like, if we hit an impasse, we've already got a contract with Sumner, we could draw on their support since we've already.
Well, David had an annual salary of about $200,000, and if you're going to get a contract person, they're not going to be much cheaper than that because they assume all the benefits.
Yeah, I just wonder if we're talking like for a month or two.
So I got calls from the companies. They said, depending on the skill level that we're looking for, we can go from $50 an hour maybe to $90 an hour. We can hire by the hour. We could hire for 3 hours. We could hire for 5 hours. We could hire for 5 days a week. We could hire for 2 weeks. We could hire for a month. We could hire for whatever we want to look for.
This is not necessarily an interim director. You're looking for
her to do the budget and the revenue pieces. The rest, we got a lot of back end stuff that happens in finance that is every day. It's a lot of work that's going on. I'm not suggesting somebody to come in and do an umbrella over everything. I'm just saying we bring in, and I spoke to another finance director in another county, and he told me that all he does is budget and revenues, and the rest of his staff handles everything else.
So Beth, not to belabor the point, but are David's files in shape that you just hand off to somebody else and say, hey, or are you having to read them?
I can answer that now.
Printed notes that he's got. So, how practical?
I'm struggling to understand some of them, and I've worked with them for 16 years.
So how practical is this, what we're trying to,
Again, you hear her say we're struggling. I'm just asking for backup, but I've made a motion if there's no
I'm
second.
struggling to understand some of his notes.
I got it.
Not.
Everybody would struggle is what I'm saying. Anyway, I made a motion. It might fail. Nobody going to second or?
I second.
So just to be clear, the motion is to put out an RFQ for finance department contracted labor.
Professional.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No.
Motion fails. We have no backup plan.
I think we may hit the cart before the horse. I'd like to talk to Mr. Warren about his timelines and milestones.
Well, I think he's coming in.
Yeah, I saw him up there a second ago.
Okay.
Excellent. I think I see you on the screen.
I hear you. I hear you.
Are we on? Yep.
I just assume it tags if he hear us.
Still got him on the phone?
No, I hung up when I heard my own voice on there.
Oh. There we go. Hello. I guess that's not the camera. Yeah, just maybe call him. Cause,
May I call?
yeah, I don't know what's going on with this.
Is it our son?
Yeah, it's gotta be the camera or something, cause it keeps saying it's going in and out.
Do you want to talk to him about the technical piece?
It says your microphone's not working.
Yeah.
I got back. So, do you want to talk to him about? We're having, what do you call this? It's shooting my voice back out of the thing, but we can't hear you.
Okay.
I'm the CEO of Sumner County, IGB.
It says our computer's not working. Our mic is not working.
I guess just calling him would be the best way, because
Okay.
some Zoom going on.
Yeah.
There's an app
Okay.
kept crashing, now I don't know what's this.
All right. So we're not going to be able to do a Zoom. Are you there, Warren?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. If I have this phone as loud as it'll possibly go, some of the committee members have some questions. Can y'all hear on that end? I don't know if tell us if you can hear them. Do you want to go first, Mr. Kerr? Todd?
Sure. This is Todd Kerr.
Let's check. Can you hear us, Warren?
Okay.
Yeah, this is Todd Kerr. I'm the vice chair of the committee. And just a couple of questions. We had a chance to look at your literature. And I think the big question for us is timing and candidates, because David's been gone, for about a month now. So we're staring down budget, and we're three companies. Okay, time flies from here. But Chairman Boyd and I and others are trying to understand timelines and deliverables and getting your pool of candidates to us and ready for us to start looking at finding candidates. I know I've jumped way ahead, but can you just outline briefly what your process is and what you think the projected timelines are?
So, one of the things, we sort of bend our process to, what the needs of the client is. So I can kind of share with you what our schedule would be, and then there are opportunities within the schedule to speed things up that, have pros and cons to them, but it's really the client's choice as to how they want to do that. And so first phase is really the development of the ideal candidate profile, getting the background on the county, and putting the marketing materials together. And I understand that some of that has already been sort of put together internally, and that there are pieces and parts that we could use that would speed up our process, which would be helpful. And so once we have those materials together, it usually takes a couple weeks to, 2 weeks to put it together. We get y'all to approve the marketing brochure, and then our advertising strategy, which is, just be a few places that we'd be placing ads where finance directors in the public sector would be looking, and it would be focused in on the southeast in Tennessee and through the Government Finance Officers Association, the resources that we have through the state of Tennessee, and any other some sources of advertising that we have. And then we also have a 30,000 person email list that we've developed over the last 3 or 4 years, which includes pretty much every finance person in the state of Tennessee local government. And we would be using that in addition to our resources on LinkedIn as well, and network there. And so then once everything is advertised and put out there in recruitment, we typically recommend to the clients to use about a 3-week period for first review of resumes to be able to not only let the advertising work, but also all of our direct recruit and sourcing activities that we would put together to try to ask candidates to apply that we can identify as good matches for us. And we're also using one of our consultants on our team is Kirk Bednar, which is the former city manager of Brentwood, and he's got an extensive network, and he's also, I think, was just put in as the executive director of the Tennessee Sumner County Managers Association as well. So he's got a great network for that kind of work. And then we would, once that 3-week mark hits, we don't close the position because we always want to be able to accept candidates after that. But then we quickly go ahead and we score the resumes using an objective matrix that we put together based on the qualifications and the desires of the county as to what you want in the candidate. And then we'll share that report back with you, meet with you, and help select the county selects at that point. Here are the semifinalists that are well qualified off the list that seem to be a good fit for the county. And we'll do video recorded interviews of those, usually depending on how many we're doing. In this case, it'll be a short amount. So within a week or so, we can produce those live video interviews that we record, and then we'll share those back with you with another report that's with the pros and cons of each candidate, and a little bit of internet search to be able to kind of determine whether or not there's anything out there that would preclude the person from being a good fit for y'all. Then we'll meet with you again, pick finalists, have them come on site in Gallatin, and then hopefully be able to make an offer, a conditional offer to somebody, do the full background investigation, and be able to sign them up. So it takes about 2 to 3 months to get through that process, and there are opportunities to speed things up, such as sometimes we don't wait the 3 weeks through the recruiting period. If we get good candidates as they come, we'll bring them to you, because in this market we don't want to lose somebody because we waited too long and they took another job. And then the other step people can skip, which I don't recommend, is just to go from the initial candidate review of semifinalists. Candidates skip the video recorded screening interviews and the initial background, and just bring them in to Gallatin, do the final interviews, and then do the background on the back of that. So those are the 2 areas where you can kind of kill some timing, but there's consequences to that, and it makes less of a comprehensive process as we go through it. But as I said, we can manipulate the process to either speed up, slow down as needed. Long answer to a short question.
Certainly appreciate that. So I think I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, around 30 days from now, you will have a pool of candidates' resumes that you look through and screen. Does that sound about right?
No, I mean, without skipping steps in the process, we're probably, I'd say about 6 weeks. About 6 weeks would be about the time when we would, 6 to 7 weeks, where we would bring in the core candidates that have been looked at, and then bring them to you to choose semifinalists.
So I guess that may be the point that we need to talk about a little bit. Is there any way to speed that up?
Yeah, those are the suggestions I had, is that you could, bring them as they come. It would be on that first phase to speed that up and then skip the video recorded interviews and just bring the candidates that look good as semifinalists directly to y'all for interviews on site. The negative to that is there may be a couple in there that after 5 minutes you wish you never brought into interview with you because we would have caught that in the video process that they weren't a good fit. But so it's just time.
Yeah, I don't know that I think that's the right method either, because to me part of the reason you're doing the work is to screen those candidates for us. So I would, and look, we're here for the whole committee, so this is not just my discussion here. So I want others to jump in. But I mean, if you could give the candidates an initial screen yourself, and that may be rearranging a few of the priorities, but to me, I don't want a cold candidate just because you got a resume. I want you guys to have done some legwork on it and screen out those folks that in 5 minutes we realized that we didn't need to talk to or wasting our time. So that may be for you to truncate what you're doing a little bit to help speed this up. But so that was my question. I'll turn it back over to Chairwoman Boyd at this point.
Thank you, Warren, for taking our questions on the phone. Commissioner Boyd, Commissioner Brown would like to ask some questions.
This is Bob Brown, one of the county commissioners. First of all, when does that 6 weeks start?
So that would be taking into consideration the time period that it would take us to get to to advertising. So, technically, that would start at our kickoff, which, could either be considered today or we're scheduled to come and visit with y'all on the 23rd. And that was the best we could do timing-wise between, my schedule. I'm off in Florida for meetings next week and then back right after that. So we lost a week there. So I would say, 7 weeks starting today was the week that we're going to lose.
So 7 weeks starting today now, and that's negating the 23rd meeting.
We would still probably need to do that, but we would be doing everything else in the background before that, so that once we had those meetings on the 23rd, we could go straight to advertising from there.
Now, what will we do on the 23rd?
It's really trying to do 3 things. One is for us to get a good idea of how the operations are supposed to work effectively with the county and what your setup is. Second, to identify, really what the ideal candidate profile is, and not just the qualifications, but also culture and soft skills that we're looking for somebody that's going to be a good fit for y'all, not just necessarily the best finance person, but somebody that would be a good fit for Sumner County. And then the third is to identifying in both the short, medium, and long term, what are the challenges and the opportunities for this position and what they're going to be asked to do beyond just the general, day-to-day responsibilities of the position, and getting the perspective from, all the members of the committee, the elected officials, any key staff that we need to talk to, just to make sure that we've got a good picture, because, part of the process is that as we talk to candidates, they're going to want to know things about the county, and, we don't want every answer we have is, I don't know, let me ask somebody and I'll get back to you. And it also helps us as we talk to the candidates, we can better assess whether they're a good fit for you the more we know about you.
What time frame are you looking at as far as this kickoff on the 23rd? How long of a day do you think that's going to be? How long of a meeting?
I think we'll be meeting with people probably, I would secure the whole day, but I think, realistically in about 4 or 5 hours, we can do everything that we need to accomplish on site.
Thank you.
Ms. Warren, this is Cherry Boyd again. I like everything you're saying, and what you've explained lines up exactly with your proposal, which I have to tell you is a beautiful document. You did a nice job with that.
Yeah, we hired a good marketing firm, so thank you.
Yeah.
I'll pass that along to them. I had nothing to, anyway, yes, thank you.
Yeah, it shines. I've looked at proposals on different fields and different things, and it shines. It's a lovely proposal, and your questions followed along exactly. I have a couple of questions. So on the 23rd, are there decisions to be made after you have talked, after you've walked through our environment and stuff?
No, I think what we do from there is that we will, in the background, as I said, we will be having our marketing firm gathering and my recruiting coordinator gathering everything that we can before that meeting, so that we have the bones and the pieces and parts for the marketing brochure and the advertising strategy sort of finished, and then our visit will solidify, the more subjective parts of the brochure, where we do a lot more explaining to the candidates what we're looking for. So, we can, I think we can do 70% of the work before the 23rd and finish it off on that day, and then, early part of next week, we should be ready to, have the draft to y'all to be approved to go to advertising.
All right. So after the meeting on the 23rd, the following week, we would be seeing a draft for our approval?
Yes.
Excellent. Mr. Kerr would like to ask you.
So there's been some discussion and some questions really from the public about the salary range that we had initially articulated. I would certainly want your feedback on that, and I've seen some information that Mr. Boyd put together on some survey information she had put together. I want to make sure that we're not on the too high end of that. I mean, and what I don't know is what I don't know about the various ranges that are out there in terms of finance director with the qualifications as a CPA and some of the other qualifications we're asking. So,
what was the range that y'all advertised initially?
Okay, but on the 23rd, if you don't mind, and if the committee is not opposed, let's nail down what that salary range really is, because that will absolutely affect his search on the candidates.
Yeah, and with that, let me kind of also say what we recommend y'all do. I don't know what the range is or what y'all had advertised. What we recommend to clients is to try to narrow that range as a hiring range. So you still have your range that HR has in your system that's approved, but we do a sort of a hiring range when we do the advertising, which try to keep that to if I have my druthers $10,000 delta, $20,000 delta, and so what that does is gives a real honest view to the candidate of what they should expect, because what happens a lot of times psychologically is that you all will put, I'm just making numbers up, $20,000 to $40,000 salary, and the candidates will all see 40 and you all see 20, and then when we pick somebody, they're asking for 45 and you're thinking 20, and we may lose somebody. So we try to hit that on the front end to kind of push you a little bit and say, what do you really expect to pay the person? We can certainly fact check that to make sure that you're in market. And so you don't waste time, putting a salary out that's too low, and you're not going to get the candidates you're looking for. And it's kind of like a real estate broker pricing a house. We got to be as good at pricing it as we can, so that you all pay a fair price and that you're in the market for the right type of candidates.
Does your firm, as part of the contract we have, does your firm offer a salary survey of some type, or is that additional?
No, we don't charge anything additional to do the job right. So.
Excellent. I mean, not to do the job right, but for us, what we should be offering for this position.
Yes.
Excellent. So we can talk about that on the 23rd.
Yeah, I think if y'all share with me what the range is now, we'll start doing that research now, and so that we'll be prepared to come in educated on the 23rd, so that it's not a starting point, but it'll be an end point of the discussion.
Excellent. I can get you the advertisement we put out with our range in it. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a profile for the position because our prior finance director was trying to do this recruiting in-house, and he actually drew up a brochure of some of the material of the county as well as what the position would require. So as a starting point for you, that'll really, I think, save some time.
That would be great.
I can get that to you.
That would be great.
That's all right with everybody? As a general question, is it possible you could tell us what the market looks like? I mean, as far as like how many people are out there, what have you seen?
Finance directors are a really hard position to recruit for in general. They're not the most adventurous group in general because they're just a little bit more conservative, so they're not necessarily going to go somewhere where they think there's, it's some kind of a risk for them career-wise. So I'm talking in major generalities, but it's not a simple task where you head out and 50 people jump in. There's a limited number of people within your geographic area that have the qualifications and capabilities to do the job. And what we're seeing nationally right now with all of our clients is that, when we're looking at candidates that may need to relocate even locally to the area, so one part of Tennessee to another, they're very hesitant to do that because of the housing market. And it's not localized, but they may have a home even with significant equity where they've got a 2.6% mortgage, and to sell it and buy another one, at 6%, is difficult sell. And then also you've got, kids in school type issues. So, we're really going to have to work hard to find the right people. And that's going to be an effort job, and that I don't think the market's flush with good finance people that are jumping at these kind of jobs.
Thank you for that, for explaining that. And just to let you know, I know earlier you and I spoke about the interim position. The committee has decided not to go down that path at this time. So just to give you a heads up on that. Questions at this end? Anybody? No more questions? All right. Well, I will, Mr. Hutch, can you tell me how to pronounce your last name?
It's Hawker. I answer pretty much everything. Warren is good.
Okay, I'd like that. Thank you, Warren. I will be in touch and give you those documents that I spoke of, and then looking forward to seeing you on the 23rd.
Me too. I look forward to working with all of you, and confident we can get a good result.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you all. Have a good rest of the day.
Bye-bye. Sorry it took so much trouble with the Zoom. It would have been easier to hear.
That's technology sometimes.
Yeah. So I'll send him those documents that David drew up. That's okay with everybody. Report of the county mayor.
No report.
Report of the law director.
No report.
Report of the trustee. And I'd like to apologize. We should let you go first, and so you could have left. So you could have left. The trustee's report is in the packet.
I do have one question. On the Personal Horizon Bank Department and COVID funds, it says 0.52%. Does that sound right? That's fine. I mean,
I'll check.
the rest of them are 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4.
I will check on that if it's good.
Yeah, looks like there's 874,000 in that account. Okay, if you could.
You're getting prepared for the money to come in again? Very good. Anyone else with questions for the trustee? Thank you for coming. Report of the finance director.
one that we've had, there's been no changes yet, but we have talked about, maybe moving some things around and implementing some smaller departments, maybe rearranging the schedule, so we are checking into that. The timesheet approval, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll take it. So I was in finance. Our payroll person is the same person that works on our Kronos implementation. Some of the things that we have trouble with is the department heads and timesheets coming in clean or without need of work. Is that a good way of saying it?
Yes, we need, in order to pull our stuff from Kronos, we check to make sure people have the hours they're supposed to have. And the majority of the time, there's a handful that do not. And so I have to have an employee who takes it every Monday to check off. Not all the time cards, there's a report that we can run where we see if somebody has less than 40 or 80 if they're holding on. She has to reach out to them, email the director, and get stuff, and it's just, why don't they just do their job in the first place?
So we had this conversation, and I'd like to propose to this committee that we create a timesheet exception report, and that these folks, it's a pretty easy thing to learn how to do this to alleviate this workload, and that once we have an exception, we ask them to take certain steps to correct and not to let it happen again. So I'd like to propose that we create a timesheet exception for these types of issues so that we can clear it up with training and other means.
Which departments we talking
I mean, there's a couple of libraries that are repeat offenders. Trustee's office is on there for a while, but I think the second command, I think she's I've learned it now, and she's doing it, so I don't think there's a problem there. And it's just, it's various, but always two particular libraries, and then just sporadic, like release of codes, and it just depends if people have been on vacation or they don't have somebody in place to pick up the slack of what the supervisor's supposed to be doing. They don't have somebody in place to do that, and it takes our time to.
So I would just like to make a motion that we create an exception sheet that we can have these people in, and we can identify it and have training to alleviate these hours. That's my motion.
Second.
I do have a couple questions about, I think it's a very good idea. Who would review the exception report? She said, I mean, the motion is to create an exception report, right?
It comes to us.
So we see that.
It'd be like the PO exception report we get.
Okay, but we're going to see all these payroll exceptions monthly.
Just their name. And does it have 2 payrolls a month?
Would that be an underpayment and an overpayment, or?
This was just.
No.
I think you're just asking about.
The clerical.
The time cards are complete. It's
Okay.
time for payroll.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Because, I mean, a lot, especially those departments that are paid current. I mean, now we currently have, all those departments have some employees who are held back, some employees who are paid current. But, you know, if we don't see the 40 hours for one group or 80 hours for the other group, we're going in there to make sure they have enough accruals to cover that before we can run payroll. We don't want to pay somebody that then have to come back and take money back away from them. So it's just, especially on a short payroll week, it's time consuming for us, and I don't feel like it's our responsibility to make sure that the supervisors are doing their job.
I agree. A question to me, would you be bringing that document to this committee for decisions to be made, or is it just for that manager maybe to come and visit, say, here's why it's happening, and you explain? Well, you're not asking us to make payroll post, I guess, late payroll decisions. Those decisions will be made, and then they come to us and explain why this payroll was late.
If I may, what I discussed with Annette is possibly, correct me if I'm wrong, but the process is that I'm the department head, and there's a screen out there I can look on, and it says 40 hours, and I got to do something else, and I tell Annette 38 hours, and she's gotta go back and figure out why I just did that, and one thing says 40, one says 38. And I said one thing we could possibly do if we get on this exception report is we say, well, because you didn't get this, we would like you to take and print that off and sign your name and send it with your 38 so we can see until you can learn how to do that. To kind of reconcile, I know it's a real remedial task that they're doing.
I think what started off this is that I have said on several occasions that there's no repercussions. So when we're trying to run payroll on Monday, Tuesday, and these people have not done their time cards yet, I can't not pay them. I have to pay them. So, but then we cover for them, we email them, we get them to do their stuff, and it's just a reoccurring problem. And I have no repercussions of what, it's not scary.
Well,
I to not do their job, I guess.
agree with what you're trying to accomplish.
And that's what.
But in a
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
exception process today, those are usually put to vote in terms of approving a PO exception. You're not asking the committee to put anything to vote. It's more of, here's what happened,
Hold the count.
reporting it out. Okay.
With the PO exception, we asked them to come up with an action plan. So our action plan with these folks would be some type of reconciliation so that they learn how to get it right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And this will save us a lot of headache in a department that we need to work on Chronos parameters, not fixing this.
And maybe the action plan is for them to go through training.
I don't know. We don't have time to train. We don't have a trainer.
Well, we're taking the time to produce an exception report. I mean, we're gonna need to be able to act on that somehow.
I think that'll go away real quick.
Okay.
I hope.
I mean, I don't know
So-
what your vision of training is. Like, we email them, we have screenshots. I mean, I don't know what more we can do for training. And we don't have a general training like on the AP side because everybody has their own policy and everybody handles their offices the same or different.
And
so I can't tell.
Maybe I can interject. Maybe if they're having trouble and they come because they're on the exception court, they can tell us what their trouble is, and maybe we can find them something else, another avenue to help.
Yeah, I just want to make sure if we get the information, we do something with it. We help the person just report out. There's a way to fix the problem.
And I bring it up because it's the same people making the same mistake, or they just haven't done it yet, and then when we send that email saying, hey, please make sure that all your people are 40, it gets done. Me, they didn't need my help. They just didn't do it when they're supposed to.
So I think we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I know I did. I was going back to it. So I skipped item 1 because they're kind of similar. The timesheet approval, in this discussion with Chronos, it came up that we have a couple of people in odd types of positions, and they can explain to you where this person is. But what we don't have is we don't have management sign off on their timesheets. I'm sure you have people that are in various, and maybe you can answer us. We don't know where to put them, but I said we really need to have a higher departmental level of everyone's timesheet, if y'all are following. So we have a couple of people that logically we don't have a timesheet approval person.
So we're back on 1, right?
We went back to 1. I'm sorry, I covered 2 first. Does this make sense to everyone? As an internal control, we need to have at least somebody somewhere that, but the problem is we don't know who that person is. I suggested to Annette if we had a list that I don't know where to start with this. I just know it's a problem. Does anyone have ideas?
So you're saying each department needs to have a specific person to sign off on all time cards?
You're looking for a hierarchy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like an org chart type.
It's talking about a department of 1.
Yeah, this is a department of 1
Or a
person.
department where the supervisor is not a county employee.
But there's county employees in the department.
So, like, the library, is that a good, should be
They're all
on
county
their time
employees.
sheet? Oh, I wasn't thinking, me there.
Health department.
Oh,
All the
okay.
supervisors are state.
she's a department head.
Oh, okay.
So there's no oversight, and this is an internal control.
Just go with what she tells me.
And it's not that we don't, we don't believe you, Debbie.
Person,
It's just, it's an internal control
Well, and
thing.
then with Chronos, who does she report to? Like, she
Yeah,
doesn't report to finance.
we're gonna have to have it.
Her time card, so who needs to do her time card? That type of stuff.
Ideas?
The hiring manager, the person who's responsible for the time, should be accountable for that time. And if you've got a department of one, I hear you, I mean, that is it. I mean, so then it puts a little bit more, on you, I guess. Now, if you had when you get your finance director at some point, we could look at the structure and see if there's another layer we could, put in the process. But when you have a department, whether they're government or non-government, county or non-county, that manager is getting paid to manage that team, and should be the one accountable for that time. So if you're showing 38 and they're showing 40, it's that person who's responsible for that. That's just my opinion. I mean, and you're limited in terms of how your org chart works. You'll have huge departments and one manager, director, VP. You've got the one person. So I don't know that we can create a lot of different controls here, given the limited number of people that we've got in each department. I told you, yours may be different. You've got a lot of people over there that comes up through you, so you ultimately be responsible for what happens.
And do you check off? Yeah. Toby will check off.
So maybe we're going to see that it is a handful of departments that create that's just a thought. Usually that's why
There's not
creating.
There's not
How many are there? Are we talking like 10, 5?
How many odd are in this category?
Well, there's
Odd
school
employees.
conservation has just the one, ag extension is just the one person, but I don't know if they report. They report to state.
Let me offer this, maybe before we start layering in
It's
different.
just, they report to non-county employees.
Let's just report out a few months what we've got to the committee. Let's just see the frequency and who, and I think to your point, it would be pretty quickly addressed. Nobody wants to come to this meeting, so.
Yeah, but this is a separate issue. This is a completely separate issue.
I don't know who they're supposed to report to.
The first issue was people with the clerical error. This is a whole different issue. This is we have an employee that nobody oversees their time. There's no sign off up above.
So who that person ultimately reports to?
Well, the one person works for a federal agency.
She's in that building.
We really don't know what she does. Again, that was the beginning of my
She's
problem.
on Chrono, she'd be logging in and out, right?
Yes,
Somebody still has to.
But we can't put her on because she doesn't have a manager, and she'd never get paid because there's nobody to pay her.
So, I mean, are we talking about like one person that we're trying to do this for?
yes, but there are, I guess, if you include health department, the managers are not county employees, so I don't have them in our payroll system, and therefore they would not roll to Chronos. So I don't know how you guys want me to handle this.
So you see the problem. We can't put them in there because there's nobody to click off pay them.
Well, to account for if they have a sick day or whatever, to approve all of that. Which right now they just do, on paper, and he just emailed us a spreadsheet of their hours. But
Whatever
to put them
you
in
email
Chronos.
you have to assume it's correct. And that's what you're trying to address.
Well, I'm trying to get people on Chronos because people
No,
ask me
I-
to get them, and I don't know who these people are supposed to report to, so I can't move them on.
So today, you are kind of the control. That's not necessarily where you want to be in the long run, but you are kind of the control.
Well, she's not, because we're really just paying these people. We just pay them, whatever they say. Annette doesn't know, I just want to make it clear, Annette doesn't know that they're at work, and she's not approving them.
No, I
She's
understand.
just paying them.
But who else would know that? I mean, that was, yeah. And maybe this is a long discussion.
I just needed to start the discussion.
Yeah.
Could someone call the comptroller's office and ask for best practices? And if you, I know y'all are busy, I could do it, I don't know. Anybody? Y'all want me, I'll call the comptroller's office or CTAS and get best practice for this, because we can't be the only person with this problem.
Yeah, everybody with the health department or ag, whatever would have the same.
Yeah, I'll call CTAS and get best practice. Everybody okay with that? All right.
Old business.
Old business. So item B is the highway, payment, if you wanna go through and just explain to everyone what that is.
We had our AP coordinator had received an email, requesting for the Rogers Group invoices to start being paid by ACH. She was back and forth with this lady and told her that the process that she needed to go through, and that when we received invoices from the highway department, she would pay the smallest one, and just to make sure that everything worked, and we proceed from there. She sent an email, I believe maybe on a Tuesday morning, to the highway department, letting them know that she would be making the payment of the smallest one, which was the $268.60. She would be making that payment. So she made that afternoon, and then Wednesday afternoon, just after 4:30, Toby had sent me an email and then called, letting me know that this email had been a scam and that we didn't need to pay them, but at that point we already paid them. So of course, it was at the end of the day, our employees had left, but I called her to make sure she hadn't made any other payments, because we did show the payment going through the bank successfully. She had not. We talked about how to remedy this going forward, the steps we need to take, and then I reached out to Cindy Williams and let her know what was going on, and asked her if there was any way we could recall the payment. She came in the next day and got in touch with the bank, and they were able to successfully get that money back. We reached out to the IT department to have those emails and all blocked. The email that we'd received back from the highway indicated that she'd forwarded us from Rogers Group that this had happened in a couple other counties from the same people. The only difference on, like they had the logo, you can see it in the packet, the logo and everything. It looked legit. Just the ending of their email address was .us instead of .com. So we've done what we can to prevent at least this group from doing something like this. And going forward, we'll be contacting the departments. If we receive a request from a vendor for an ACH, we'll be contacting the departments before we proceed with anything like that.
So, it was just a matter of information of how that happened. It's all cleared up, and we have our money in the hole.
So we're able to get the money back?
Yes, we got the money back.
It was really a weird deal.
That was nothing so much.
I went and met with their salesman for lunch, because Mindy was talking to about it at the end of November, and then when she was talking about doing the payment, I met Terry Friday that day, and then we reached out to the lady that I know that does the billing, and they told me immediately they had the same thing happen in other places too, and so this is a weird deal, and it was, thought it was odd, because when I was over that department, we never did that, and that's the reason I wanted to talk to Briley, because he's over all the sales for the construction, and he's just, no, we're not doing that. So it was just an odd deal.
So, just quickly, all that was initiated through an email or phone call or both?
Just
Perpetrator.
as far as I'm aware, it was just an email.
And so when you got the payroll or the AP clerk got that, they immediately just went in the process of getting the bank transfer process approved.
No,
And that's where
this was like a month long emails back and forth, and it wasn't just, they sent it today and it happened tomorrow. It was it was a lot of emails back and forth between whoever this lady was or person and our AP coordinator. There were several emails back and forth.
If there's one vendor that I think they were trying to get a lot of money, it would be Rogers Group, because we pay them a lot of money. How do we pay them today? By check?
By check. Kudos to the coordinator, because she only grabbed the smallest payment. There were several invoices that the highway department submitted, $40,000, $50,000 each, and she only picked up the one for $260.
Well, here's my question, and I'll let it go. I'm not real sure why it took us a month to figure this out. That's a pretty big departure from what we typically do with one of our larger vendors. So it sounded like it got very far down the path before somebody.
Well, you can see the email trail in the packet.
But I guess I just, in any of these situations, there's always a takeaway and some learning opportunity for us. Do you think that there are any controls on the front end that you would change?
Well, that's why I said we're going forward. We're reaching out to the departments. If we get a request to change the payment type that we currently have in place, we're reaching out to the departments before we initiate anything.
That's what we do. We do that same thing, because this happens all the time.
We don't see it very much with AP, on the AP side. It's usually in payroll.
Mm-hmm.
So was this something that the bank just picked up as a liability and paid, or did they?
No, we received it. We got it back from that account, and they actually emailed us indicating that I thought you submitted the payment. We haven't received it. Yeah. Yeah.
They were courteous.
Yeah.
No, it was just, an item that, I didn't put it on, it's just an item to cover. All right, so we have nothing under new business. As far as, I'd like to discuss the meeting on January 23rd, a little bit more just to clear up with, legal. So we're going to notice the meeting, but what is that going to look like? Is it a workshop?
It'll have that appearance to it. It sounds to me like he's just gathering information and asking questions of primarily the finance department. Would that be?
That would be my assumption.
Okay, so there's not going to be much back and forth, so if it's going to be in one location, I'll indicate the location. If it's going to be a floating meeting, I'll just indicate that, and if the chips fall where they may. I don't think anybody showed up last time we did one of these, so other than just making sure we comply with the act, I don't think there'd be any other issue beyond that.
So the other item with future dates, it sounds like they're going to be covering these steps along the way, and we'll probably need to meet more than every 30 days. So I anticipate at the 23rd they'll be able to give us, I think he gave us a date. Did anybody get that? Like when he would have something, like it was the next week? The draft would be the next week?
About 7 days.
I kept minutes, January 30th, we'll see them all advertised.
It sounded like you said after that. It sounded like you said after the 23rd, around the first of the next week.
No, January 30th.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see a mock
That's what-
advertisement.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to go ahead and, will that be, I'm looking at, we should probably meet around that time. So we'll just, not on a Friday.
But we may get it on Tuesday.
Exactly.
On Thursday, you may get
Well,
it Friday afternoon.
just so everybody has it on their radar that it's coming, and then probably, we will probably be looking at probably at least 2 meetings in February to see where we're at and see where we move on. So everybody understands. We don't have a time in the morning yet. We'll get that from them. And since the mayor said he anticipated 8 hours and Warren said 5 hours, I would assume it's a morning.
I'm just gonna go with whatever the mayor provides, that's what I'll post.
You go ahead and set it at 9 o'clock. While everybody's sitting here. Just run until everybody gets information they need. I say we do it in room 112.
So do you wanna look at that next actual meeting in the first week of February?
I think we need to leave it kind of loose to see how we're doing. To see once when the draft comes in and then what they'll have. I mean, they might be on vacation again, or I don't know. We could set a meeting, but I think it's dependent on where they're at. They're going to drive it. If you want to propose a meeting, so February, what day do you think? If we met on the 30th, let's anticipate sometime during that week we have a draft.
What about February 5th on Thursday? Short month. There's a long, we have a holiday. I don't think President's Day.
It's the third Monday.
Okay, so placeholder?
What day is that?
February 5th.
I need a plane. I can't just leave.
No, that's good. What would you think the second February meeting will have a placeholder?
That's not we'll deal with that on the 5th.
We'll deal with that on the 5th. Let's go with, is 3:30 good with everybody on the 5th? Now, will that be considered a regular meeting, as in we will, and just asking everybody what you want to do, as in we'll get our timesheet exception and get that rolling? Because I'd like to get that rolling and get those folks trained up and relieve Annette of some time. Everybody good with that? We'll have a regular meeting. We'll cover outstanding and carry on with business. And we'll hear more about Kronos and the scheduling of different departments that Beth was talking about. Any more business anyone wants to? It's not on the agenda, but I'll open it for any other comments.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.